Hello, I'm Abby Clausen at Advertising Age, and this is the About Digital Report. LinkedIn is perhaps the least glitzy of the major social networking sites. Unlike Facebook or MySpace, it doesn't offer games or apps designed to maximize the time users spend there. Quite the opposite, it's a network for business people, and the actual goal is to minimize the time its users spend to get what they need from each other. Launched in 2003 by digital entrepreneur Reid Hoffman, LinkedIn now has 50 million members, and it became profitable in 2007. On one of the last sweltering days of summer, Mr. Hoffman was in New York to speak at an Advertising Week event, and we pulled him into our studio. The first thing we asked was if LinkedIn has managed to remain profitable during the recession.
Economic crisis aside, didn't affect us that much.
That's actually amazing.
Yeah, we were happy about that.
Did you do anything in particular to try to avoid, what a lot of other businesses and companies have seen in terms of a business meltdown?
Well, we restructured our growth plan, mostly just as a function of wanting to be careful to see what would happen. And as it turned out, none of our lines of business were negatively affected. And so then we went back to a growth plan. But we had originally been planning on growing like this, then we grew like this, and now we're beginning to gradually accelerate again in terms of employees and efforts and that sort of thing.
Well, you guys have never totally relied on advertising for your business model either. It's been a very mixed model.
Yep. Diversified is the word we use.
Diversified, yeah. So how much do you credit that? And are there certain lines of your business that are growing faster than others? Maybe you can break those down a little bit.
Well, they're all growing pretty well. Sometimes, like for example, we also got hit a little bit with the dip because all the advertising budgets got a little can we spend any of this? But actually, in the latter part of the year, the advertising has roared back because of basically the effect. So, if you had asked me 6 months ago, I would have said, well, I don't know, maybe it is really good we're diversified because the advertising is growing slower than the other ones. But in the last quarter, advertising has been growing faster than the other ones. So they're all kind of going at a fast clip, although advertising was more like this and the other ones are kind of more like that.
Mm-hmm. Facebook last week made an announcement that they were cash flow positive. And it came at an interesting time because there's been so much discussion lately about can you monetize social networks? Can you monetize social media? You guys have always stood out as kind of a proof case that, yes, you can monetize this stuff. It might not be all 100% advertising, but you can. Can you compare and contrast some of the similarities and differences between you guys and your opportunity from a business standpoint and a more, social site, like a generally social site like Facebook?
Facebook obviously has massive traction. Once you have massive traction, there's all kinds of ways that you can earn money even at low CPMs, because even if a lot of people are using the photo sharing and other things and aren't paying attention to the ads, on huge page views, you can make some money. So I've always been bullish on Facebook making money, Twitter making money. I'm an investor in Facebook, right, etc. But the key thing is, how do you make a huge amount of money? And I do think that it's possible for all the social sites. I think they have to innovate something. Each one of them innovates something unique to itself. So I like, for example, Facebook doing its fan pages and making ad social, and we look at that and see if there's a business context to it. Although liking a Coke page is not a particular business thing. On the LinkedIn side, what we looked at was, well, what are the things people come here in order to help them either do their job or manage the overall arc of their career. And how do we build in advertising that's special to that? So, for example, part of when we do direct ads, it's, for example, lawyers advertising to venture capitalists, or BD people advertising to relevant people at a company, or accountants advertising to, people that they think are in essentially wealthy positions, within a certain geographic range and that sort of thing. White papers, information that's relevant to your business, that sort of thing. And so, my belief, LinkedIn is one of the ones with the most solid business models, but my belief is that, with the right innovation, iteration, there's always interesting business models.
You guys have had incredibly high CPMs on LinkedIn, I think. Have you been able to maintain those CPMs,
yes,
despite what we've seen?
I think maintain and maybe even grow.
Maybe even grow. What are they? Can you tell me?
I don't know if we publicize them, but I think of social sites, they're at the highest end of the range.
Okay. We're talking like above $50 sort of thing?
Some sales are above $50.
Because
we have very targeted, you can get to very You can get to very select, like CIOs and other kinds of things. So there are some targeted ads that are significantly above $50.
What drives the higher CPMs for you guys? It's the audience, it's the targeting?
Yeah,
are
audience,
there any other
business context.
tricks that you might offer other sites for being able to grow that?
Well, I think a number of social sites do this, but we do this too. We have a polls product that actually is engaging. So, like for example, you say, well, what are you thinking as a CIO on this sort of thing? And then people answer the question, and then you give a result. One of the clever things done, JetBlue did a kind of like which of these features is more relevant to you in terms of class, and then targeted advertising of that feature that they had, relative to those people who then said, okay, well, like I was in like legroom. Oh, well, we have really good legroom, that kind of thing. And here's how we compare on legroom, that sort of thing. So those kinds of interactive features are generally very good to do on the internet.
Oh, that's interesting. So now you know which of your users like more legroom,
yes.
which like the free cocktails,
yes.
whatever,
yes, exactly.
whatever it might be. Do you think that we've turned the corner in terms of the economy and the recession?
Well, obviously, everyone hopes so.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried that the massive amount of debt, if it's not efficiently invested and kind of doesn't come back the right way, that will cause an overall kind of pressure, downward pressure on the economy. And so I hope that more and more of the stimulus dollars go towards investing in things that create a strong 3 to 7 years. I wrote an op-ed on the Washington Post about the importance of investing in essentially startups and other kinds of things that can grow to being competitive businesses in 3 to 7 years, as opposed to just doing shovel-ready stuff. I would characterize myself as highly worried.
Highly worried.
Yeah.
Does your data tell you anything interesting about the economy, jobs, postings?
Well, it tells us that people are still pretty active. Jobs business is growing. There's definitely, I think part of what happened in Q1 was that everyone's like, how far down does this rabbit hole go?
Yeah.
Right? And so everyone was kind of paralyzed by that. And I think there's enough confidence now that there's not a free fall drop, so people are kind of getting back to work. Hopefully it'll be a shorter rather than a longer amount of time to get back to growth.
And that's it for this About Digital report. Thanks for being with us. This is Abby Clausen at Advertising Age in New York.